With the current volatility in the market and the risk of a future recession, you might be wondering, hey, but where should I invest my money right now? In this video, you're about to find what are the top 3 stocks that you need to buy in June 2022 to have a lot of passive income, but also a lot of potential growth. Of course, to select different stocks, I've based my decision on many different criteria. They are the business model of the companies, who are the customers of the company, but also what is the products that they are selling to them. But before you continue, go in the comment section and let me know what is your current favorite stocks that you are buying massively right now. And now let's jump to my pick number 1. With the current environment on the market and the tech being the most undervalued sector at the moment, what I've decided to present as my first pick is one of the biggest tech company in the whole world. And it is also one of the leader in the search engine optimization. Now you might have guessed that my first pick is Google with the ticker GOOGL. This company is currently in the top 5 of the biggest companies in the world in terms of market capitalization, just behind Apple and Microsoft. As I told you, Google or Alphabet has the largest search engine platform with more than 90% of the total market, and its closest competitor is Bing with only about 6% of the total market. Of course, it has many different income sources, but its main one are coming from Google and YouTube ads. Indeed, those two sources by themselves represent about 80% of the total income of Google in 2019. In 2019, 60% of the total revenue of Google were coming from the Google ads coming from the search engine. But of course, they have many different other income sources, just like their Google Cloud or also their small bets. Those small bets are basically some smaller companies that are purchased by Google and that are expected to have a lot of potential growth in the future. However, keep in mind that some of these small companies are going to fail and some others are going to blow up. One of the best example to share with you this principle is when Google acquired YouTube, that has generated since that point billions of dollars to that company. This company also has a massive list of products and services offered to their customers, just like their search engine, Google Cloud, Gmail, Google Map, YouTube, Google Chrome, and even their brand new Android with the new Google Pixel phone. The market is divided between the advertisers that are paying for their different advertisement, and you have the content creator just like myself that create and present to their shareholders all their different content. And when those creators are famous, for example on YouTube, you need to have more than 1,000 subscribers and more than 4,000 of watch hours. Well, those creators can receive money in exchange of their content. In fact, what is the business model of YouTube is that they are making money from the advertisement, from the advertisers that are used on the content creators' different content. As you can see, they have a lot of brand and different services that are offered to their customers. However, keep in mind that during recession time, usually what happens is that advertisers are paying less. This means that for Google, it is some kind of threat because it could diminish the total revenues of that company. However, since Google has a lot of diversification from different sources, they can be able to pass through a recession that usually don't last a lot of time. However, nowadays, Google has pretty much become an essential service since everyone that goes on the internet, for example, will need and could potentially use Google. And so with the demography that keep increasing years after years, that means that there will be even more demand in the future. Also, the fact that this company will split and will do a 20-for-1 split in less than 1 month now will create a lot of liquidity since more people will potentially have the power to buy more Google shares. Keep in mind that this won't create any value within the stock. Unfortunately, this company isn't paying any kind of dividends to their shareholders since they are using their retained earnings to reinvest straight in the company to make it grow even more. For the valuation of Google, we can see that it has a massive market cap of more than $1.4 trillion, with also an excellent PE ratio for a tech company of less than 20. They do also have an excellent profit and operating margin around 30% with a great return on asset of about 15% and a return on equity of about 30%. Up to date, we can see that their revenues is around $270 billion with an increase of 23%. But what is really interesting is to see how much cash does they sit on, about $133 billion compared to the debt that is only about $28 billion. Unfortunately, this company isn't paying any kind of dividends to their shareholders since they are using their retained earnings to reinvest straight in the company to make it grow even more. However, we can see that since, as I told you earlier, the S&P 500 and the big tech has been completely hammered since the beginning of the year, we can see that Google hasn't been left behind. Of course, if you're telling me, and I'm a big Google fan, and as you can see, I'm recording for YouTube, so I'm somebody that's using Google each and every single day. So I believe that it is really the future, and this is why I believe that when you see some huge dip like what we see right now, it could be a great idea to add some shares to my own portfolio. And now, after presenting to you a great growth stock, I've decided to share with you another interesting dividend stock that is coming from the US. But before to present to you, I wanted to say that this company is a little bit more riskier compared to Google. And so I've decided to present to you the company 3M with the ticker MMM. This company acts in many different fields such as industry, worker safety, US healthcare, and consumer discretionary. Indeed, this company has sold more than 60,000 different products to many different big brands. So what they do, they create the products that are sold to the big brands, and after the brands will sold those products to the customers. And in terms of valuation, we can see that this company has a massive market cap of over $81 billion with some great PE ratio of less than 15, which means that this company is currently undervalued, which can be seen by the excellent profit and operating margin of the company. And they also have a great return on assets and an incredible return on equity of about 40%. However, we can see that this company is not sitting on a lot of cash, only about $3 billion compared to about $17 billion in debt. But that doesn't mean that they are not able to pay any kind of dividend, since they are paying a quarterly dividend of about 4% to their shareholders. Even if they face some problems with the COVID, they have been able in the last year to increase their revenues to about $35 billion. But we can see that the earnings before interest and taxes has slightly diminished compared to the previous years because of the increase in the different expenses caused by the COVID. And we can see that in the last year, they've been able to massively beat the earnings each and every single quarter of the year. Unfortunately, as we can see by the graph, this company has lost a lot of value during the past couple of months. But why is that happening? Technically, there are many reasons that can explain that, but one of the biggest reasons is that they haven't been able to grow as much as they were expecting to do. Indeed, as we can see, they have been forced to reduce the expectation in terms of total sales, but also in terms of earnings and cash flow from operation. And this was due a lot to the COVID that has been hitting them super hard. But now that this is supposed to be all over, the growth should continue for this company. But at the end of January, they have lost a case of more than $110 million because of a lawsuit that concerned some earplugs that were causing some potential damage to the brain. But this company, with all the diversification from their different income sources and products, are still able to generate some massive cash flow from it. And it is why I've decided to put it on my list for the top stock of June 2022 because it is criminally undervalued at the moment.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Finally, for my last pick, knowing the fact that the demography of the world and the population in general will continue to increase in the years to come, and that those people will need, of course, a house to live, but also to make some different renovation, I've decided to pick one of the best companies in that field, which is Home Depot with the ticker HD. As most of you guys must know, Home Depot is one of the leaders in the renovation materials sector. Indeed, it is currently the largest home improvement retailer in the world. Of course, its main income sources is coming from the building materials for different renovation. And as we can see, this income source has generated in 2021 about 13.60 billion only by itself. Just like 3M, in the past year, this company has beat each and every single time what were their expected earnings. And this company also has some great valuation measures, with closing on about $300 billion of valuation for the company. And of course, an excellent PE ratio of about 18, and with some great profit and operating margin as well, with also a great return on asset of about 20%. But what is really astonishing is the return on equity of more than 84,700%. So I'm not too sure if it is really what has been the return on equity year to date, but if it is the case, it is really insane. Just like 3M, this company doesn't have much cash, about $3 billion compared to about $50 billion in debt. However, they still have a great sustainable dividend of more than 2.55% that has been increased of more than 10 years now, and that is also very sustainable with a super low payout ratio of only 43%. And also we can see that in the past 3 years, this company has made some incredible growth in their revenues that are now worth around $150 billion in the last year. However, just like 3M, we've seen that this company has been on a downtrend since the past couple of months. But once again, if you would like to invest into a no improvement retail company, I personally believe that it is really the best company that you could invest right now. Now that you've seen what are the best 3 stocks that you need to buy in June 2022, go check out what are the top 3 best Canadian dividend stocks that you need to hold during those recession times to earn as much as passive income as possible. And to make sure to stay tuned for the next monthly update about which stocks should you buy in July 2022, go and subscribe to the channel and join the North family for only $0.0 by subscribing to the channel. And I will see you soon. Peace!